In this talk, we will learn about the terrestrial biomes that are present on Earth. Biomes are distinct geographical regions that have specific climates, vegetation, as well as animal life. They can be considered as biotic communities on a global or continental scale. Biomes can be characterized by their vegetation type or their physical environment. Each biome has its own characteristic appearance. There are two main types of biomes. Terrestrial biomes are defined largely by sets of regional climatic conditions, while aquatic biomes are normally characterized by their physical and chemical environment. Aquatic biomes tend to show less latitudinal variation, while terrestrial biomes do show a lot of variation based on their latitudes. There are different types of terrestrial biomes, and they're usually named according to their vegetational structures. For example, tundra means a treeless place, while taiga means a place where you can see large coniferous trees. Grasslands, of course, mean where you see grass, and temperate deciduous forest gets its name because there are many deciduous trees. The type of biome that will be formed in a region depends on the temperature of the region as well as the precipitation of the region. Productivity in general, which is the rate of formation of biomass, is related to temperature and precipitation. And thus, based on the productivity, we can see different types of organisms present in the appropriate biomes. The tundra biome is primarily above the Arctic Circle, where it is very cold. It appears treeless, which is how it got its name. There are tundra-like regions in places below the Arctic Circle, and these are regions with high elevations where the climatic conditions are similar to what we observe above the Arctic Circle. The tundra shows the presence of a permafrost, which is a permanent frozen layer of soil. The depth of the permafrost can be anywhere from 10 centimeters to 1 meter below the surface. There is water at or near the surface. Some features of the tundra region is that the precipitation or rainfall averages less than 25 centimeters annually, which is really not a lot. In the tundra, there are a short growing season of 2 to 3 months, and this is usually during the summertime, where the temperatures can be as high as 27 degrees Celsius. The permafrost in the tundra restricts the growth of plant roots. During the winter months, there's not that many plants that grow in general. During the summer months, however, we do see more vegetation, but it tends to be more herbaceous, where we're seeing more of mosses, grasses, dwarf shrubs, and if there are trees, they are quite short, as well as lichen. The mammals that are normally found in the tundra include musk oxen, caribou, reindeers, and many migratory bird species. Human settlement in the tundra is sparse, however, tundra has become the focus of oil and mineral extraction. The taiga biome is found right south of the tundra biome. The taiga biome is also called as the northern conifer or boreal forest. It is dominated by evergreen trees such as spruce and fir. The temperature in the taiga biome ranges from -50 to 25 degrees Celsius. The taiga biome gets more rainfall than the tundra biome, but most of it occurs in the summer. We see long, severe winters in this biome. However, the plants and trees have adapted to the cold temperatures and any permafrost that may form. There are many types of plants, including perennials, shrubs, and even some annuals. There are more animals present in the taiga biome than the tundra biome. These include migratory or resident birds, as well as large mammals. We do have periodic insect outbreaks that tend to kill vast areas of the taiga forest. Recently, however, humans have been logging these very old forests at a very rapid rate, and hence they are at risk to disappear pretty quickly. The temperate deciduous forest biome is found in many different regions around the world. Deciduous refers to broad-leaved plant species. However, these plants tend to go into dormancy during the winter. In the case of the temperate deciduous forest, the winter has very short days, and hence the trees tend to go into dormancy. Before they go into dormancy, they tend to make certain types of plant pigments in the leaves, and this gives rise to the fall colors. When we look at the temperature variation throughout a year, we don't see that much of a difference as we observed with the taiga biomes. The temperatures are usually within the range of 4 to 20 degrees Celsius. There is annual precipitation that is more than what we observed in the taiga, and most of it normally happens in the summer. The dominant plants in the temperate deciduous forest are the deciduous trees. We can also see evergreen eucalyptus trees in the southern hemispheres where the temperate deciduous forests are. The deciduous forest has many vertical layers. Right at the top, we see trees that form the closed canopy. Underneath the canopy are the understory trees. Underneath the understory trees, we see smaller shrubs and seedling layers. At the ground layer, we can see much smaller plants which form the herb layer. There are many different types of mammals, birds, and insects that make use of all the vertical layers in the forest, and hence there is a lot of biodiversity in temperate deciduous forests. In the temperate deciduous forest present in the northern hemisphere, many mammals tend to hibernate during the winter, and many birds tend to migrate. The temperate deciduous forests have been heavily cut by humans on all continents, but in some places they are recovering because of conservation efforts. Grasslands are biomes that are found in the interior of continental masses. They receive an annual precipitation from about 25 to 100 centimeters, and the temperature can vary in a year from minus 45 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius. Grasslands are known to have fertile soils. The fertile soils in grasslands promote the growth of grass, and they can be quite tall. In fact, in Iowa and Illinois, the grasses can be 2 to 3 meters tall. Many types of wild flowering plants are also present in grasslands. Grasslands are able to support different types of mammals, including bison, prairie dogs, and wild horses. In recent years, the fertile soils of the grasslands have been taken advantage of, and the land has been converted to farmland, thereby reducing the biodiversity in grasslands. Deserts are biomes where the precipitation is consistently low. We can find deserts on almost every single continent. Deserts normally receive less than 12.5 centimeters of annual precipitation, which is on quite the lower end. Hence, there is low humidity in deserts, and due to that, the daily temperature fluctuates a lot. For example, on a typical summer day, the daytime temperature can be more than 35 degrees Celsius, and at nighttime it can be below 15 degrees Celsius. Thus, we can see wide daily temperature ranges. Now, organisms have evolved different adaptations to cope with the low humidity and the wide daily temperature ranges. Desert plants have evolved many different adaptations to cope with the heat and desiccation, or dryness of the environment. They have water storage tissues, as well as they have reduced their leaf surface area. Desert plants tend to show thick cuticles to prevent water loss. The water storage tissues are present in both stems and leaves of desert plants. When leaves are present, they tend to be leathery, but for the most part, they're quite reduced in size or even absent. If the leaves are absent, then we do need some part of the plant to perform photosynthesis, and this is usually done by the stems. Water can also be stored in the stems of desert plants. Thus, desert plants have evolved many different adaptations. Similarly, desert animals have also evolved adaptations. Many of them tend to be nocturnal, and this way they're able to get away from the heat that is there during the day. They're able to obtain water from the food that they eat. The food that they eat usually comes from plants, and the plants tend to store water in their stems and leaves. Additionally, some desert animals have evolved water storage tissues, for example, camels. Humans have reduced the biodiversity in deserts considerably through urbanization as well as irrigated agriculture. Savannas are biomes that are not found in the United States but can occupy up to 20% of Earth's land area. The largest savannas are found in Africa and Australia, India, and South America. Savannas can be considered as rolling grasslands which have isolated shrubs and trees. They tend to have limited rainfall and hence we don't see very large trees. The temperature in the savanna fluctuates from 20 to 40 degrees Celsius in a year. Many plant species in the savannas have adapted to fires and are tolerant of seasonal droughts. There are grasses and forbs that are normally found in the savannas and make up most of the ground cover. Hence, it is very common to see herbivorous animals as well as insects. Human-induced fires have been shown to help maintain the savanna, but we do have the problem of cattle ranching as well as overhunting that tend to threaten the large mammal populations present in the savannas. The chaparral is a geographically small biome, and we can see them scattered throughout the globe. The chaparral are characterized as shrublands that are associated with fires. In fact, before humans started intervening with this biome, the chaparral would burn every 30 to 150 years. The temperatures in the chaparral vary annually from -2 to 38 degrees Celsius. This region gets limited rainfall and anywhere from 25 to 50 centimeters, which is why it tends to be dry during some times of the year. The chaparral landscape is dominated by plants that are shrubs, small trees, grasses, and even herbs. Many of these plants have adapted to fire and drought. They tend to have woody stems and do not have a very dominant trunk. Many of the plants have extensive roots and hence they go deep into the ground and help during dry weather and after fires happen. Fire is an important and regular disturbance in the chaparral ecosystem. In fact, some plants have evolved in such a way that their seeds actually require heat for germination. There are many different animals found in the chaparral, and these include amphibians, birds, reptiles, browsing mammals like goats, and other smaller mammals. Human activity and climate change is resulting in more frequent and extended fires in the chaparral. Humans have also reduced the chaparral biome areas through agriculture and urbanization. Thus, this is turning out to be a very fragile ecosystem. The tropical rainforests represent nearly half of forested areas of Earth and occupy around 5% of Earth's surface. The tropical rainforests get a lot of rainfall. The annual precipitation is from 200 to 400 centimeters, and they usually do not see a dry season. The humidity is also quite high in these areas. It's more than 80%. The temperatures fluctuate between 25 to 35 degrees Celsius. When we look at the number of flora and fauna species that are present in tropical rainforests, it exceeds those of all the terrestrial biomes that are combined. The tropical rainforests are dominated by broad-leaved evergreen trees that have tall, unbranched trunks. Some of them can be more than 40 meters tall. The tropical rainforest is vertically layered, similar to a temperate deciduous forest. The competition for light is very intense among the different plants that are present in a tropical rainforest. The different layers present in the forest is the topmost emergent layer. The trees that are present in this layer are able to get sunlight directly. Below the emergent layer is the canopy layer. Below the canopy layer is the understory layer, and the lowest layer is the undergrowth layer. The trees of the tropical rainforest tend to have buttressed roots, which are aerial extensions of lateral surface roots. The reason they have such a root system is because the ground has enough water and hence the roots do not run very deep. Now, since the trees are so large, they need additional support, and the buttress roots provides these additional support. In addition to trees, we also observe many vines and epiphytes in tropical rainforests. Epiphytes are plants that tend to grow on other plants, however, they're independent living and are not parasitic in any form. They tend to have aerial roots, and these roots are able to obtain moisture from the environment. Do remember, the environment or the air in the tropical rainforest has a lot of humidity and hence a lot of water vapor. Popular examples of epiphytes are orchids. In addition to plant diversity, animal diversity is also higher in tropical forests than any other terrestrial biomes. These animals depend on the plants present on the tropical rainforest. Humans have negatively impacted tropical rainforests through deforestation. A lot of the land is being converted to farmland, urban areas, and other uses. With this, we come to the end of our talk where we learned about what biomes are and looked at different types of biomes, which include the terrestrial and aquatic biomes. We looked at different types of terrestrial biomes and learned about their characteristics and features.